Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back. We're going to start with our riddle. Our riddle today is, why did the lemon go to the doctor? Think about it. Kind of goes along by another book from Patricia Polacco, The Lemonade Club. Now look at the title. It's kind of a serious book. What do you think it's going to be about? Okay, The Lemonade Club. Tracy and Marilyn were best friends. They were inseparable at school, but almost always went to each other's houses after school. Both of them were in Miss Weichelmann's 5th grade class. How they loved Miss Weichelmann. Everyone in class did. Miss Weichelmann made their classroom seem almost like home. She put a lamp on her desk, and she framed almost everyone's drawings and hung them on the walls. She had a rug right up at the front of the room next to her desk, where she read to her class from a big old rocking chair. And there was a class guinea pig, Pinky, who squeaked whenever anyone walked by him. Sounds like a fun classroom. What everyone liked most about Miss Weichelmann is that she made every kid in the classroom believe that he or she could be anything they wanted to be. If you dream it, then you can be it. Marilyn wanted to be a pianist. She took lessons every week and had a grand piano in her living room. Tracy loved to hear her practice. Tracy didn't know what she wanted to be, really. She did know that it made her feel warm inside whenever she was helping someone. It's always a good feeling. Almost every day, just as the last bell was about to ring, Miss Weichelmann would point to a basket of fresh lemons that she always kept on her desk and say, if life hands you a lemon or two today, and you all know how sour lemons are, everyone would make a face. Just add water and sugar, and what do you have? Then she'd pause, and the whole class would call out, lemonade! Yum. Tracy and Marilyn stayed after school one afternoon to help Miss Weichelmann put up her career day posters. Miss Weichelmann pinned up a picture of a doctor. Once I thought I'd be a doctor. Why, I even completed my pre-med courses, but I discovered being a teacher was just as important to me. After all, doctors help our bodies grow up to be big and healthy, and teachers help your minds grow wise and full of ideas, Miss Weichelmann said thoughtfully. Soon after Tracy and Marilyn were walking home, they heard voices behind them. Waddle, waddle, one of the older girls sneered. Fatty, fatty, 2x4, couldn't get through the classroom door, the other chimed in. That's not nice. Don't listen to them, Tracy said as she pulled Marilyn along a little faster. The older girls hissed and whispered mean secrets and laughed as loud as they could. Finally, those mean girls turned down another street. I would do just about anything to be thin, Marilyn cried. Tracy put her arm around Marilyn's shoulder. They didn't say much the rest of the way home. As weeks passed, school went on as usual, except Tracy noticed that Marilyn was losing weight. She was looking great. Even the mean girls didn't tease her anymore. Then one Wednesday, as the girls were planting flowers in Marilyn's front garden, Marilyn collapsed in a heap on the grass. I can't breathe, she gasped. I'm so tired, I don't even think I can get up. You haven't gone on one of those awful diets, have you, Marilyn? Because it isn't good for kids to starve themselves and go on diets. That's just it, Marilyn answered. I've lost all this weight without doing anything. Tracy looked worried. It just melted off, but I feel so tired, and I'm always tired, Marilyn said weakly. I'm getting your mom. Tracy knew something was very wrong. Marilyn didn't come back to school from that day on. Tracy knew why. Marilyn's mom came over one night crying and told her mom everything. The very next day, Miss Weichelmann had a terrible announcement to make to the class. About Marilyn, Miss Weichelmann stated, she looked so grim that everyone in the room knew this was something very serious. Marilyn's family has asked me to inform you all that Marilyn has cancer, leukemia. Everyone in the room gasped. Some of the kids cried. Tracy just looked at the floor and fought back her own tears. Miss Weichelmann added quickly, But there's a great deal of hope. Marilyn will undergo a series of treatments called chemotherapy. This treatment will eventually kill off all the cancer cells in her body, but it will sometimes make her sick while it's fighting the cancer. The whole class just stared for a long time. Is she ever going to come back to school? Danny Bridges called out. Yes, in a few weeks she'll return. But I'll warn you, she'll look quite different. These treatments will make her lose all of her hair. She will probably wear a wig or a scarf, but she won't have any hair, Miss Weichelman said softly. And there may be times that she'll feel sick or very tired. Miss Weichelman suddenly lost all the color in her face and quickly sat down. But Miss Weichelman, people die when they get cancer, don't they? One of the children blurted out. Miss Weichelman stared out the window for a moment, then collected herself. There's no doubt that some do not survive. Our Marilyn most certainly will. But she'll need all of us to help her through this. Tracy stared at the basket of lemons and thought to herself, no matter how much sugar was added, it wasn't going to make lemonade this time. As the days passed, Tracy and Miss Weichelman were almost permanent fixtures at Marilyn's house. One day, shortly after her chemo began, Tracy walked in while Marilyn was brushing her hair. She was staring at the hairbrush. It was full of strands and clumps of her beautiful hair. My hair, it's falling out, Marilyn cried as she pulled the hair from the brush and tried to put it back on her head. I even made a wish on a star last night that I wouldn't lose my hair, Marilyn sobbed. From that day on, some days were good, and some days weren't for Marilyn. I think Patricia Patalaco does a really good job of showing us the sadness in Marilyn's face. One day, Miss Weichelman came for a visit. Tracy was already there. It was one of Marilyn's not-so-good days. She had just come from the hospital, and her arms were bruised from all the pokes she got that day. She was so weak she could hardly sit up in bed. Nothing Tracy and Miss Weichelman did seemed to cheer her up. Look, Marilyn, Miss Weichelman brought you a CD of piano concerto to listen to. Mozart, your favorite composer. Music, I don't care about music. I'm never going to be able to play the piano again with these sore arms. I'm so sick of doctors and hospitals and needles. Oh, Marilyn, please smile. Smile just for me, Tracy pleaded. Marilyn cried it even more. Smile? How could I smile? I feel so sick. No one knows how bad I feel. No one. Then she buried her head in her pillow. Miss Weichelman had held Marilyn in her arms. Oh, sweet pea, I think I do know. I know exactly how you feel, Miss Weichelman said softly. Then Miss Weichelman sat back and held Marilyn's face in her hands. Marilyn, you just have to get well so you can come to my wedding, Miss Weichelman beamed. Your wedding, Marilyn and Tracy both called out. When did you get engaged? And to whom? Marilyn smiled broadly for the first time in a few weeks. His name is Warren, and girls, this will have to be our secret for a while, but I want you both to be there. I want you both in yellow dresses, lemon yellow dresses, as bright as the sunshine. We're going to make lemonade out of sour, bitter old lemons, aren't we, Miss Weichelman said. But what if I'm still bald? What then? Marilyn asked. Well, so what? What if you are? You'll still be one of the most beautiful girls there, Miss Weichelman reassured her. It was Monday morning. Miss Weichelman and Tracy and the whole class had a huge surprise for Marilyn to return to school. It had been planned that Marilyn be brought to class just after the starting bell so the kids could get their surprises ready. As Marilyn walked down the hall, she was gripping her mother's hand. She had on her best scarf. Tracy opened the door and greeted her. The whole class stood up. They were all wearing funny hats. As Marilyn entered, everyone cheered and clapped. There was a big sheet cake on Miss Weichelman's desk. Tracy took Marilyn's hands. Welcome back, Marilyn, she cried out. Then she pulled off her funny hat. Everyone in class did. What do you think is going to happen? Everyone was bald. They had all shaved their heads. Marilyn's mother caught her breath and clapped her hand over her mouth. Marilyn walked up and down each aisle, looking intently into the face of each of her classmates. That was a sweet thing to do to support Marilyn. When she passed the last desk, she lowered her eyes and slowly pulled off her own scarf and held it in her hands. She felt a warm hand softly caress her hairless head. It was Miss Wikelman. Then everyone gasped. Miss Wikelman slowly pulled off her own brightly colored scarf. She too had no hair. Then there was a loud cheer. The music was turned on, ice cream and cake was dished out, and the celebration began. But Miss Wikelman seemed distracted. She didn't seem as cheerful as usual. With each treatment, the doctor said Marilyn's cancer was disappearing. Marilyn had finally completed her last round of chemo. Her hair had started growing back right away. It was fuzzy and orange at first, kind of like this, but soon it looked just like it had before, except it was curly and shorter. She and Tracy met after school under the shady elm with Miss Wikelman every week. They had become very close. They called themselves the Lemonade Club. Miss Wikelman read poems. Sometimes she cried. She said, because the words are so beautiful. They talked about everything, and of course they loved hearing about plans for Miss Wikelman's wedding. Soon the entire class returned to normal routine. Everyone's hair was growing back. But one day Bernie Carlisle called out, hey, Miss Wikelman, how come you're still wearing your scarf? Ain't you got no hair under there? Although Miss Wikelman knew he was kidding, she didn't laugh. She tugged off her scarf and looked out the window. Something seemed wrong. Tracy passed a note to Miss Wikelman that read, emergency meeting of the Lemonade Club today after school, under the elm. What do you think's wrong? Later that day, Tracy and Marilyn sat under the shade of the old elm tree. It was Marilyn who spoke up. You have it too, don't you? For real. That's why you said you know exactly how I felt. Miss Wikelman couldn't seem to speak, and when she finally did, her eyes filled with tears. I have breast cancer, girl, she said, almost in a whisper. So you're gonna fight this, aren't you, Marilyn demanded? Yes, I'm almost finished with chemo, Miss Wikelman said as her voice trailed off. Will that get rid of it? Tracy asked. No, I'll have to have surgery eventually, Miss Wikelman answered. Surgery? I didn't have to have surgery, Marilyn said. You had cancer in a very different way than I do. So, way to go, Miss Wikelman, she added, and she gave her a thumbs up. She's going to be a very beautiful woman. And then they all laughed. Miss Wikelman seemed deep in thought. I don't know what I'd do without you two. Miss Wikelman sighed as she lay back on the grass and looked at the clouds. Both of you have taught me so much and affected my life. Because of you, I've thought again about being a doctor. I applied to Stanford Medical School. I want to help children like you, Marilyn. But since I started treatment, I think I've lost my courage. Miss Wikelman's voice drifted off. Hey, Marilyn, bellowed. You aren't going to let something like cancer stomp on your dreams, are you? You're always teaching us to keep our dreams no matter what. If you can dream it, you can be it, the three of them said together. You'll make a wonderful doctor, Tracy said, and Warren loves you. What more could you want? Miss Wikelman took a lemon out of her basket. Well then, girls, to the Lemonade Club, she said triumphantly. To the Lemonade Club, Tracy and Marilyn echoed. It was an especially sunny day. People were gathering in the church. Even though it had been 5 years since they had been Miss Wikelman students, almost the whole class was sitting together. The music was playing softly. It was one of Miss Wikelman's favorite hymns. The flowers were so beautiful. Everyone was thinking about Miss Wikelman. Suddenly, a congregation sprang to its feet. The music boomed, the joyous, triumphant voluntary, and there standing in their lemon yellow gowns were Tracy and Marilyn. They beamed as they marched down the aisle to join the groom at the front of the church. Then everyone turned around and looked as Cynthia Wikelman appeared. Tracy and Marilyn were right. She was a beautiful bride. She glowed as she floated like a cloud down the aisle. Dr. Cynthia Wikelman became the wife of Dr. Warren Gish on this glorious day, and they were all three together to celebrate it. A sweet lemonade indeed. Love the happiness on their faces. And here is a note from Patricia Polacco. As for the Lemonade Club, the three friends, Tracy, Marilyn, and Miss Weichelman, still keep in touch to this very day. Tracy went on to study in the medical field, inspired by Miss Weichelman. Marilyn became a teacher who was deeply loved, just like Miss Weichelman. Marilyn has 3 sons now and still plays the piano. Cynthia and Warren live in Missouri, where Cynthia teaches medical studies, and Warren is a tireless researcher dedicated to finding cures for disease. I know all of this to be true because Tracy is my daughter, and Marilyn is one of her best friends. And Cynthia is indeed my daughter's former teacher who went on to become a doctor after battling cancer and winning. She is very dear to our entire family, for we look up to her example and find our own courage, inspiration, and most of all, hope. So here are actual photographs. That's the teacher, Cynthia and her husband. There's Tracy and Marilyn, they're adults now. And this is Cynthia and Patricia Polacco. Patricia Polacco is sitting down. Love this story. Gives you hope. Even with the sad things, good things can come out of it. We have a fun little experiment that involves lemons. Now to answer the riddle. Why did the lemon go to the doctor? Kind of funny to go along with this book. Because it wasn't peeling well. Get it? Lemon peel. I miss you. I love you. And I'll see you soon. Hi, welcome back, boys and girls. Well, guess what? I tried to do an experiment and I failed today. The experiment was supposed to be to take some lemon and a Q-tip, put some lemon juice in this cup, and write a secret message on a piece of paper. Well, guess what? I wrote the secret message here and it's not showing up. This is my 6th try. After you write the secret message, you take something. I took an blow dryer and I've taken an iron and tried to get the message and it's not working. That would be something you'd have to do with your parents. So I'm gonna stop for today. It's okay, I'm okay with it because I've learned a lot. I learned about chemical reactions and oxidation, but I just don't have anything cool to share with you today, so I'm sorry. But tomorrow, I'll be back. I miss you, I love you, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.